Hello there and welcome to my first Star Wars modular mock. But just before we get into this build, you can see it's set around Boba's palace from the Book of Boba Fett. But I reached out, a few videos ago I reached out to the LEGO team to see if I could get a replacement torso for this Legoland exclusive set that's over 40 years old. Because the gold on the torso has worn off. You can see the white printing is still there, but there is no gold. And they did say because of one of the recent Galaxy Explorer sets, they did have the torso in stock, so I could put through a request and see if I managed to get it, and they have delivered, which, to be fair, isn't too surprising. I did get a replacement piece for the purple tanks because one of them was bent. So Lego do have a great customer service, and even in stores you notice how friendly the staff are. I'm very happy to have this here now, and that means that instead of replacing all the parts from this other spaceman, I might end up getting some sort of display set just to protect this set. Obviously, all these pieces are genuinely from the 80s. So this isn't a set I've parted out. This is a 1980s set. So I might get some sort of acrylic display case just to protect it and keep that to the side. I won't be changing it at all because I have here all the other parts that I have purchased for that spaceman. Now, as I've got the new torso, I might as well use this to build a brand new spaceman for my collection. You can see, I'll go over my collection very briefly. We've got the brown one from the CMF that come with the baby Benny. We've also got the yellow, pink and white that did come with Benny in a more battle pack size set from the second Lego movie. Or perhaps it was even the first Lego movie. We've got the orange one from one of the Lego books. I think it was called Everything to Know About Lego, something like that. And that was exclusive to the book. And there's quite a few of these flying around Bricklink for pretty decent prices, to be fair. And we also got the purple one, which cannot be bought as it is made up with the purple torso that comes from a CMF, much like the brown one. We also get a grey torso for the CMF, so I'm yet to get my hands on that, but hopefully soon. The helmet comes in a Lunar New Year set, though I was able to pick it up in the Halloween VIP pack, which is going until the end of the month, so I'm not sure if you can pick it up still. You might be lucky enough. If not, I'm sure you'll find some being sold on Bricklink and other Lego selling sites. And I also got the tank from a Lego stunt set, which I'd actually bought quite a while back to go with the purple legs and the plain purple arms that I bought on the online Pick a Brick, and that's given me the plain purple one. So now we've got the brown, we've got the yellow, we've got the orange, we've got the pink, we've got the blue, the white, the purple. I'm just about to build the red, and then the only ones we need are the grey, the green and the black. And of course that would complete my 12 spacemen, 11 and a half we'll say. So let's get the red one built. This is straight from the Lego factory in, I can't remember if this was in Poland or if this was on the bestseller list or not, but it's come through Lego straight from the factory it was made, and you can see that gold torso, the gold on the torso even, looks so nice. It's definitely an upgrade to this Lego figure here. I mean, I don't see much wrong with it. You can tell the gold's missing. It still looks quite nice, but there's just something about a nice clean astronaut torso that just looks really cool. You can actually see there is some sort of mark. That's not a scratch. The gold is there, but in certain lights you can just see a line in it. But as you can see, there is no scratch in the gold, and this is going to go very nice with the other spacemen. So with the legs, we'll get the air tanks, the head, the helmet, and I realised that when I was doing, I think it was my last Firestar haul, which since then Firestar have had a few difficulties and are starting to set shop up from scratch. So if you know anything about the Firestar issues, you'll know they are trying to get back to work as soon as they can. If not, you can check it out on their website. They've got an explanation of everything that happened. But for my Firestar video, I think it was the legs I never clicked on properly, and watching videos, I do sort of hate when that happens because it's just one of them little things that stands out and takes away from looking at the figure. But this minifigure does look awesome. You can see it's got the classic head that, again, you can pick up online. I'm not sure if you can pick up the torso still. They sort of go in and out of stock, but it might be worth taking a look. I know the purple one is out of stock, well, the purple helmet and air tanks, but you can pick up all these pieces on Bricklink and build them yourself. And I won't take up any more of the video, it's gone on for much longer than I hoped, but here is my collection of spacemen. So you'll probably see it in a future video where I pick up a black, a green. Hopefully the grey one will be my next one, but you'll have to wait and see. And now let's have a look at the mock. So as you can see, it's a little different to my regular dioramas or even mechs or anything. I've decided for the Boba Palace mock, I've sort of based it on the set. The set you can kind of pull apart, get the top layer off, and you've got the tower that is separate to it, so perhaps it could use a little entrance gate or a little stairway going down to its fire spray. And I definitely looked at building that. Originally I was going to do a few more layers, add a little fire spray, maybe a little space for all the bikes of his gang, and just add maybe a rancor cage. But it just didn't look right because of how small I've limited this to. Perhaps you could get a double height one for the rancor pit. But I really like these modular sort of builds, and if you're a fan of the Harry Potter Lego, you'll know that more or less this is what you get. I think they're an extra 2 studs wide, so you could add a bit more depth. I didn't need it for these two, but of course if Lego were to do it, them extra 2 studs could definitely add a bit of detail to some of the scenes. And I definitely think we should get some of these for Star Wars. Again, we could have got Boba's palace like this, and perhaps been able to get even Jabba's little pedestal with a brick-built Jabba that we can add to it, and just get different floors of the palace, or perhaps even the Jedi Temple. You know what? The Jedi Temple would be amazing to build this way. Even if they didn't do it this way and they wanted to add more room to get like the council seats in and some of the rooms where you see Kenobi and Anakin training in the Kenobi series, all the flashbacks for Order 66 where you got the elevators. I think they could definitely do a 16 by 16 modular that sort of stacks together and perhaps even on the outside looks like the Jedi Temple. That'd make a load of money, even if they just did something more Rivendell style and you can switch up the rooms. I think we'd definitely overdo a Jedi Temple mock, so perhaps at some point in the future, especially next year for 25 years of both Lego and the Phantom Menace, I'll have to create something like this for the Jedi Temple. And even if you don't want to display the Jedi Temple, you can see just how easily it clips on the 2 studs, and even with just the 2 walls it clips on nice and easy, and you can stack them, have the Jedi Temple with the palace and perhaps another like Yoda's hut scene. I'm not too sure which other scenes we could get in this format, but really it's the shape of the television screen. You can even create some scenes that aren't necessarily inside and just wall out an exterior land, stack them all together on a display. I am a big fan of stacking sets. As you might remember when I created my own custom 3D printed collectible minifigure stands that do stack on and just are a more efficient way of displaying your Lego. They don't take up as much space. As you can see, we've got 2 base plates here, but they only take up the size of the one because I've stacked them on top. And that is something that I've done with my dioramas on display. I've got an old drawer unit and sort of stacked them so that I'm making the use of the height of the space I've got available. And I just think this is something that we are missing from Lego Star Wars. We got it with Lego Harry Potter, and I don't think we've got it really with any other sets. I suppose City is somewhat modular, and you've got the modular buildings which of course stack up and make a bit more use of the height. But for Star Wars, this would be great. I actually saw last night, after I built this mock, someone had created some sort of pyramid with 3 scenes from the sequels on the bottom, quite larger. Then you got the 3 original trilogy scenes. If I can find the image, I'll put it up on screen for you now. But right at the top, they had the 3 prequel scenes stacked with 2 beneath the one. So they had 1 for each movie, and we could even get something like that for this. Of course, Boba on his throne would be from the show. You can then have some Kenobi one, a Kenobi display, 1 for each of the movies, 1 for each of the spin-off movies, perhaps 1 for each season of Clone Wars, though really I'd want 1 for every arc, so that could get really expensive to build. But I do think this would look really great as a Lego set. Again, it's only a small section. I think they'd probably pair a few of them up so you could have the 3 from the prequels, the 3 from the originals, and they'd probably sell them for like, I don't know, nowhere near 30 quid, but probably somewhere below that in the sort of £20 region for the 3 of them. I'm not quite sure how the Harry Potter sets are sold, and of course you've got more of an interior, so I'd expect them to be cheaper. They might be a bit more expensive because they're using the Star Wars name, but as you can see, Boba's throne is the top one. I have mentioned that, and it's quite a nice build. I haven't filled in the bottom. You can see there's gaps there, and that's how I create so many dioramas, really. Not too big, as you can see. It fits quite nicely in my hand, but you don't need to brick out what you're not seeing. I could have probably put 2 bricks on the back, just hidden it, and you've also got a little gap by the stairs here, but front on and from the top, which is how I'm going to be displaying it. You can see you've got the stairs going up the side. You've even got this big sort of block that slides forward over the little hatch to the Rancor pit. And of course, the main thing is this throne, which doesn't look too bad. I've seen a load of different builds, but I wanted to try something completely new, and I think I pulled it off quite well as the start to the arch that would go over it. And for the second room, I thought we'll go a level up. So what is above Boba's throne? Well, we have here the Bacta tank that Boba uses to sort of regenerate himself, and of course I had to include the armor stand. The Bacta tank looked a bit alone, whereas Boba's throne has the stairs going each side and all these little golden details which stick out the front. I had to give the Bacta tank something to sort of fill out the scene, and when Boba is in the Bacta tank, you have his armor stand, which I think is really smartly built, because not only did I build it, and I'm tooting my own horn, but I've used the piece from the Boba mech to represent his armor sort of off of his torso and onto this grey stand. You can see it sort of clipped around the back. You've got the shoulder pieces here, which are printed on Boba's arms, as you can see. And of course, I've got the helmet on top, which does include this visor. I know they don't always include it for Boba's minifigures or even for some of the clones, but it did have to be added here, as this is what it looks like. I could have added the gun in front, but I wanted to keep it simple yet effective. And if you open the Bacta tank, you can actually see inside is my custom Cobb Vanth minifigure. And the build itself for the Bacta tank is quite simple. These front panels are quite fragile as there's no support, but the whole lid is just built on this hinge which can open and close, and I've added the little window in there so you can see Cobb Vanth, and perhaps I could have added a bit more detail. I do suppose Lego would just add a sort of sticker or something, but there's definitely a better way of building this. I just like how I've built it because, of course, you get the minifigure inside rather than just having like a printed glass piece or even a window piece or like a door 6 tall by 4 glass piece with the white stickers top and bottom like they did for Maul's prison in the Mandalore duel set. I just didn't want something like that. I wanted to create it with as many bricks as I can, and I might venture into the world of custom stickers one day, but today will not be that day. So I think this is quite an effective display to have. It gets the scene across. As I said, it's quite space saving. Let me know what you think down in the comments. It's definitely very different to the usual dioramas. You can see it don't look too pretty from the side, from the back. Even if I filled out these gaps, I don't think it's too pretty, so it's definitely something you can slot in a cubby hole, and I definitely think we'll be seeing a few more of these mocks from Star Wars fans, as with all the other bigger sets we're getting, displays like this are definitely needed to fill the little gaps. Once again, let me know if you enjoyed this video by either leaving a comment or a like on the video, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more awesome LEGO content. And may the bricks be with you, always.